What's up viewers, Eric from Sonic, and today we're going to be doing another Apple CarPlay Android Auto install on this 2015 Sienna SE. And once again, depending on what phone you have, our device is going to auto detect and it's going to display either the Apple CarPlay or the Android Auto on the factory screen. And of course, the factory screen is a touch screen. It's going to be responsive to all your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto controls. So let's not waste any time and just go ahead and get started. Alright, now that we're in the car, the first thing we want to do is remove this top piece over here. So it's just being held by clips. So we are going to carefully remove it. All you have to do is pull it towards you this way. That's how you want to get it out. And next step is we want to remove this climate control panel over here. We'll use a panel removal tool for this. Okay, just like that. Disconnect the one connector behind it. And then the next step is to remove this panel that surrounds your shift knob. Okay, before we do that, let's go ahead and remove the shift knob. Okay. And disconnect the connector that's holding this piece in the back. Alright, and the next step is we're going to remove this panel that surrounds this radio. Let's start off from back here. Move the shifter position in the back by pressing the shift release button. Just be careful to position it so that when you pull out this panel you won't scratch anything. Okay, this comes off with one piece like that. Okay, and the next step, all we have to do is remove these four 10mm bolts. You will want to use an extension for that. Make it easier. Okay, so once we have the four 10mm bolts, just set a really big blanket down here, like this, so that you don't scratch anything. And then, carefully pull it towards you. Alright, just like that. And now that all these connectors are exposed in the back, we are ready to install our Apple CarPlay Android Auto device. And before we connect our device, go ahead and pre-connect the connectors on it. If you need to know how to do it, refer to the link below, click on it, and we'll tell you exactly how to connect all those various parts together to prepare for the final connection to your radio. And while preparing to put together the interface before you install, make sure you check the manual on the correct dip switch setting because it will vary depending on the exact model number of your vehicle. So make sure you double check that, verify it, and then use the appropriate dip switch before connecting everything. So there's only three connectors that I'm going to be working on. It's going to be this connector, and this connector. So go ahead and daisy chain all these. It's going to be plug and play. Everything will clip in. If you see yourself forcing it, it's either on backwards or it's not the correct connector. So make sure everything should clip in very easily. And now that everything is in, let's go ahead and test the unit to make sure everything is working. Alright, so far so good. Oh, perfect. Okay, and if you do have to try out other dip switches, make sure you pull this out every time you change the dip switch to reset the system, or else it's going to remember the last dip switch setting, which will not make any changes although you change the dip switches. Now that we confirmed that everything is working as it should, let's go ahead and finish the connections. So right now we're using this supplied USB cable that's from it, but we're going to use a custom harness that's sold separately to connect the USB into the factory USB port so that we could retain the use of the factory USB port for this device. So we'll do that right now. We'll switch this over. Okay, so if you look back behind the radio, you'll find the USB connection right here. It's a great connector. Just remove that, and then you're going to connect into this harness. And the other end of the harness is going to connect into the Apple CarPlay device. Just like that. And then, just to make sure it still works, let's test it one more time. And it's still working. Perfect. And as a side note, you will lose your 3.5mm AUX input from the outside because we are going to use the auxiliary for the sound. So while using this Apple CarPlay system, your audio source has to remain in aux. So once everything is in, we are going to organize this device, mount it neatly behind the radio, and we also need to route the mic that we have on this. So we're going to route this mic. We're going to mount it around here, and we are going to route it through the bottom here, behind the kick panel, under the dash, and to the radio. So we're going to do that right now.